Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Thiesel, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show, where truth matters. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, from 1 to 3 p.m. Central, as I get to ride home with you in the afternoon. And yes, I say I get to ride home with you in the afternoon. It's always such a pleasure. You can find us on television, channel 182, on Charter Communications, Abundant Television, which is found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And don't forget the podcast, thenewscasters.com. By the way, if you have ideas for shows, anything you would like for me just to kind of do a little research on, I would be tickled to death to do that for you. You can send a message, send an email to Donna@donnasedge.com. That's Donna@donnasedge.com, and I'll take good care of that for you. I want to thank our sponsors who are absolutely awesome, and also thank you for absolutely watching. So Nikki sent an idea for a show, and I thought it was pretty good too, and that was on how to handle conflict with humor. And so Nikki said she didn't mind me using her name. So Nikki said that she has found that when she has conflicts in the office or family, that it's easier just to kind of incorporate a little bit of humor in there, and it kind of gets people, a little not so defensive. And I think that's a great idea, Nikki. And I have found I've done that, and I really didn't realize what I was doing at the time. So let's go ahead and talk about this. So this is a good website, developgoodhabits.com. That's developgoodhabits.com. And so they're talking about, again, managing conflict with humor. And again, it kind of gets everybody off on the right foot, so to speak. So let's talk about that. So laughter is the best medicine. We've heard that. We all saw the Reader's Digest from back in the day, and so they would talk about humor. And so they would have these humorous antidotes, and so it kind of gets you off on a good mood and on a good foot for the week. So let's talk about this. Helpguide.org is another great source. So they say, and I agree with this, laughter is a powerful tool for bringing people closer together, managing conflict. We're going to have that. Anytime you have two people, it's going to happen. And also reducing tension. And that may be the biggest benefactor of all, is just reducing the tension that happens with conflict. So here's how to use humor and play to resolve those disagreements and also strengthen your relationships. So let's go ahead and get started with that. Now, before we get started, this is by an author, Lawrence Robinson. And so he talks about the role of humor and laughter in relationships. And so remember, I was a district manager with one of the world's biggest cosmetic companies, and this was my first management job. And so I had someone who was writing out in the field with me, and a conflict actually arose. And what happened is I was one of the youngest ones, actually youngest manager I think they had ever hired. And I don't know what they saw in me, but anyway, it was a lot of fun. It was a great fun first job. And so there was a little bit of disagreement because I was so young with some of the people who had been with the company for quite a while. And so I decided to use a little bit of humor in this. I don't even remember what I said, but I just remember the person who was riding out in the field with me, just watching what I do on a daily basis, said, "That's the best way you could have possibly handled that." She said, because they're looking at you being this little young person out there with this management job, and they probably think you don't have a personality. Now, I'm not talking about going into a full laughter like we see some of the politicians doing. I'm saying just insert a little bit of humor, and sometimes that goes a long way. So we've all heard that laughter is the best medicine, and it's true. Laughter does relieve stress. It elevates moods too, by the way, and it makes you more resilient, but it's also good for your relationship. So let's talk about this now. In new relationships, humor can be an effective tool, not just for attracting the other person, but also for overcoming any awkwardness that may arise. It kind of keeps everything exciting, fresh, and vibrant, but it can also help you get past conflicts, disagreements, and the tiny aggravations that build up over time and wreck of even the strongest of bonds. Sometimes what happens, just notice my earring was kind of doing weird stuff. See, humor. And I didn't even plan that one. That was just really kind of awesome. So anyway, so relieving tension is probably the best thing you can possibly do. So, sharing the pleasure of humor, you can talk about your first job with maybe an employee and how you overcame something. And again, that's just going to help. So, it also creates a sense of intimacy. In other words, let's just say you are a new manager in a business. Okay, and just like I kind of went through with, so some of the employees have been there for a long time. They feel as if they're overlooked for the promotion, and here you come whispering in and you get the promotion. First of all, people want to know that if you are managing anything, that could be a store, it could be a business, it could be pastoring a church or a Sunday school class. People want to know that they're part of something. And sometimes when you create a little intimacy and maybe just joking around with I'm not talking about you gotta work, okay? I'm not talking about just turning everything into a joke fest. I'm just talking about relieving tension at this point. But sharing the pleasure of humility actually creates a sense of intimacy and connection between two people, qualifies that define solid, successful relationships. Again, everybody wants to be part of something. Everybody wants to be part of a relationship. Now, when you laugh with one another, you create a positive bond between you. I've been with people before in projects. And I'll have to tell you, Elmer, who was with the Chamber of Commerce in Calhoun County, was awesome. And so Elmer and I worked on several projects together. So what we would always do was start something humorous. And I don't know, it's just like it would make the entire project go much more smoother than that without putting a little humor in there. So I learned that from Elmer. And Elmer, if you're watching, thank you for all you helped me with. Okay, this bond also acts as a strong buffer against stress, disagreements, disappointments, and it also will bad patches in a relationship. Also, laughter really is contagious. So just hearing someone laugh, it just kind of primes you to smile a bit and laugh right back, and it makes you want to join in on the fun. Remember, we all want to be part of something great. Okay, now, whether you're looking to improve your relationships with a romantic partner, friends, family, or coworkers, humor can help. So let's just talk about these tips that are going to actually help it work. So the benefits of using humor in your relationships. So humor can help you form a stronger bond with other people. Your health and happiness depend to a large degree on the quality of your relationships. Also, laughter binds people together. So let's talk about smooth over differences. Everybody's going to have differences. That's just what, I don't care what you do. It could be any project whatsoever. You're helping someone with, it could be with feeding the hungry. I promise you, you get 5 people into this project of feeding the hungry, they're going to be 5 different ideas. You have to be willing to listen to everybody else's idea too, not only yours. And who knows, a lot of the ideas can be used at different times of the project. So just because yours is not picked the first time doesn't mean it's all lost. And it could be yours was the idea, and people will notice that when you get another running for your idea. Okay, now let's talk about smoothing over differences. Now, using your gentle humor often helps you address even the most sensitive issues such as sex or in-laws. That can be a tough one right there, especially if you're the next wife coming into the relationship. This is not your first marriage, and so you're the next wife or husband coming into a relationship, meeting the new family, and like it or not, they're going to be comparing you to the ex. I mean, they're going to be doing that. So that's all part of it too. So what you can do to infuse laughter and just a positive atmosphere. Laughter, and again, I'm not talking about a joke fest like I've seen some of our politicians do when they're caught in the wrong. That's not a good time to put humor in there. When you're in the wrong of something, when you're trying to get out of it, don't use humor. It only ticks off the other person. So remember that. Okay, now, diffuse tension. A well-timed joke can ease a tense situation and help you resolve disagreements. So overcome problems and setbacks. A sense of humor is key to resilience. It really does. It's kind of like Okay, so I had a bad project, didn't work out, bad business, bad relationship, whatever, it didn't work out. Get rid of it. Use a little humor to get rid of it, okay? Also helps to take hardships in stride. Whether weather disappointments, I mean, that can happen. Like I was planning a project a few weeks ago, and guess what? A snowstorm came in. We had ice and all that. So we had to cancel it because the guest speaker was coming in from South Alabama. And so we just didn't want her safety being overlooked. So it was a good thing to do. And did I want to? I wanted to fire on with this project, but I couldn't. You got to think of safety. You got to think of weather. But you can bounce back from adversity and loss. So this is another thing you're doing. You're putting things into perspective. Now, again, this comes from this is a really awesome website called helpguide.org. Don't agree with everything 100% they have in there, but I agree with pretty much 90% of everything they put on this. And again, just because you read something and just because I tell you something, because the news media tells you something, doesn't mean that's the go. Okay, so you got to think for yourself. I'm just giving you some ideas. Okay, now humor can also help to reframe problems that might otherwise seem overwhelming and could damage a relationship. So be more creative. Humor and playfulness can loosen you up, energize your thinking, and inspire you. Also, when you come up with a conflict and there's a conflict going on with a project, let's just say, and so you got a good relationship with this person, sometimes it's best for them to think they're right. Think of a real good positive, something that they have done with this project, and sometimes you just have to walk away. So just think of something really good and end it on that term. You don't have to be the one right. Okay, that's not necessary. Okay, now let's talk about using humor to manage and diffuse conflict. I tell you what, before we do that, let's go into a commercial break. We'll be right back. Twin City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you. The Hatter Cafe and Country Inn is nestled in the northeast corner of Alabama the Beautiful in the delightful town of Mentone. We're located on top of scenic Lookout Mountain near Little River and DeSoto State Park and located only 5 minutes from shopping and restaurants. There is also a nearby community walking path and golf course. We welcome everyone through the doors, and we are committed to outstanding service for all guests. At the Hatter Cafe and Country Inn, we invite people from all walks of life to come and get away from it all, enjoy the open spaces, treetop views, fresh, clean air, and experience Southern hospitality at its finest. We look forward to hosting you. To reserve a special event, or if you would love a special getaway at the Country Inn, you can call us at 256-634-2018.
Are you ready?
We all wonder what tomorrow will bring, but the future lays itself at the feet of the prepared and surrenders to the will of the persistent. It's not easy, but today shapes you so you can shape tomorrow. With Northeast Alabama Community College, when the future asks if you're ready, you can answer
yes.
Begin your future at Northeast Alabama Community College.
The only place I buy my beef is Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama. Their cattle is born and raised on their ranch, grass and grain fed, and you can feel confident when you serve your family and friends because their beef is all natural and no antibiotics or hormones are added. You can buy whole beef or perhaps go in with family or friends and buy half. Their customer service is number one as they take care of the delivery to their local processor and can deliver to your home for a small added fee. They also offer herd replacement heifers. I always call Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama for my beef specialty recipes and cookouts, and you can too. Food shortages are increasing, so buy local by calling 256-523-6462. That's 256-523-6462.
My Towels solved the problem that we've all had with towels. You go into the stores and they feel lotiony and soft, but then you get them home and they wind dry you. That's why I made My Towels. They actually work, they're soft, and they absorb. And now I'm excited to announce 2 brand new lines of My Towels. What makes them the best towels ever is they're now made with 100% long staple Shapir cotton. This is a combed ring spun cotton that makes My Towels even softer and more absorbent than ever. And now you get a 6-piece set for an amazing introductory sale price as low as $29.98. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get My Towels for only $29.98. Or you can get my designer premium line for just $20 more. Either way, you save 50% now on all My Towels. They actually work. What a concept. This offer won't last long, so please order now.
MyPillow.com.
At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for 2 or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. Okay, we're back. Hope you enjoyed the break. My name is Donna, and your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show. We're talking about conflict and how that can happen and how to diffuse it with humor. And, because you don't always have to win. Okay, and I found that a long time ago. It doesn't matter. You want to keep a good relationship with somebody. But let's talk about using humor to manage and just diffuse conflict. It's just going to happen. Again, where 2 people meet, there's going to be a disagreement somewhere down the road. Conflict is inevitable, and it's part of all relationships. It can take the form of a major discord between 2 of you, or simply petty aggravations that have built up over time. And by the way, I've also found if there is a petty aggravation between you and someone else, it's best to go ahead and get it taken care of right away before it builds into something it really doesn't need to build into. Either way, how you manage conflict can often determine the success of your relationship. So let's talk about this. So when conflict and disagreement throw a wrench in your relationship, humor and playfulness can help lighten the tension or restore a sense of connection. Love my coffee. I need to cut back on that some. I really do. But anyway, do what you enjoy. Okay? Okay. All right, now, use respectfully a little lighthearted humor, because you got to be real careful that it doesn't come out as if you're making fun of somebody. Nobody wants to be made fun of. No one. So you got to be really careful how you do this, okay? So when conflict throws a wrench in your relationship, humor and playfulness can lighten the tension and restore a sense of connection. So use respectfully a little lighthearted humor can quickly turn conflict and tension into an opportunity for shared fun and intimacy. It allows you to get your point across without getting the other person's defenses up or hurting their feelings. For example, let's talk about this one. Excuse me, I've had the flu, so I'm kind of getting over it. So let's talk about Alex. So Alex is retired, but he still goes up on the roof to clean the gutters. Now, his wife Angie has told him numerous times that it scares her when he uses the ladder. Today, instead of her usual complaints, she yells up to him. You know, it's husbands like you who turned wives into nags. Okay, now how does Alex handle it? Alex laughs and he carefully comes down from the roof. Okay. See how we have to be really careful what we do and what we say. Now, Lori's husband is a smart guy, but after a few drinks over dinner, he consistently miscalculates the amount he should tip for the meal. Now, this embarrasses Lori, okay, and it makes her husband defensive and also often means a pleasant evening ends with an argument. Now, the next time they're out for dinner and her husband moves to pick up the check, Lori playfully hands him a calculator and says there are 3 kinds of people, those who can count and those who can't. So her husband laughs, and instead of leaving the restaurant arguing, they leave smiling and joking with each other. See, there are different ways you can handle conflict. Okay, now humor isn't a miracle cure, okay? It's not going to be for everybody. But it can be an important tool to help you overcome those rough spots that affect every relationship from time to time. Now, humor free of hurtful sarcasm. There's a difference now between sarcasm and humor, or ridicule. Okay, don't ridicule anybody, but neutralizes conflict to help you. Now, interrupt the power struggle. Now, instantly easing tension and allowing you to reconnect and regain perspective. Be more spontaneous. So, shared laughter and play helps you break free from rigid ways of thinking and behaving, allowing you to see the problem in a new way and find a creative solution. Okay, I have a stepfather, Thomas, and I love Thomas. He's just like a real dad to me. And I was just as close to him as I was my dad. So, but he had a way of doing things. And it's ways that he'd been doing things for decades. But I'll tell you something about him, he's always willing to learn. And so he's doing something one time. It had to do something with the cat, I think. And you know how I love animals and stuff. So I came up with a different way. And it's just how I always handled my cats. And it was just a different way of feeding. Well, he looked at me and he said, "What are you doing?" And I told him I was giving him my way. And I kind of giggled just a little bit at him. And he went, "You know what? I like that. I think that's the way I'm going to start doing it from now on." So see, it takes both people in the relationship. It takes you presenting it the right way. Now, had I said, "I think you've been doing it really stupid all these years." Had I said something like that, oh, you know, his defense mechanism would have been like up through the roof. But I didn't do it that way. I just started doing it, and I said, "Yeah, it works for me," you know, and I just kind of giggled when I said that. Because I presented it that way, that's how we handle feeding the cat from that point on. So anyway, I was just up here visiting one time. And now, was I trying to change the way he does things? No, I was just doing it my way, and he was okay with it. So see, it takes both of you working on a relationship. Now, be less defensive, because that's what we do. We don't want to be thought of as stupid, right? Nobody does. So we've got to be defensive. In playful settings, we hear things differently and can tolerate learning about things ourselves that we otherwise might find unpleasant or even painful if it's done a different way. And also let go of inhibitions. Laughter frees us up. Frees us to express what we truly feel and allowing our deep, genuine emotions to rise to the surface. Now, let's go into, we still got time. Let's talk about managing conflict with humor. Tip number 1. Make sure you're both in on the joke. That's extremely important, because if you don't, it's going to come out like you're being obnoxious. It could come out like you're making fun of that person. Nobody wants to be made fun of. So like any tool, humor can be used in negative as well as positive ways. So making snide, hurtful remarks, for example, when criticizing the other person for not being able to take a joke, will create even more problems and ultimately damage a relationship. So humor can only help you overcome conflict when both parties are in on the joke. So it's important to be sensitive to the other person, to your partner, to your co-worker, family member, or the joking is one-sided instead of mutual. It undermines trust and goodwill and can damage the relationship. So consider this following example. This is about Michelle. So Michelle's feet are always cold when she gets into bed. Ooh, that sounds familiar. That's me. But she has what she thinks is a playful solution. Okay, so she heats up her icy feet by placing them on her husband Kevin's warm body. Kevin hates this game and has repeatedly told Michelle that he doesn't appreciate being used as a foot warmer. But she just laughs at his complaints. Lately, Kevin is taken to sleeping at the far edge of the bed. Ooh, a solution that distanced them as a couple. See what I mean? You gotta be careful of the other person. Humor should be equally fun and enjoyable for everyone involved. Now, if others don't think you're joking or teasing is funny, stop immediately. I've had to do that. Before you start playing around, take a moment to consider your motives as well as the other person's state of mind and sense of humor. So I think we have time for this. So ask yourself the following questions. Number one, do you feel calmer, clear-headed, and connected to the other person? Number two, is your true intent to communicate positive feelings, or are you taking a dig, expressing anger, or laughing at the other person's expense? Are you sure that the joke will be understood and appreciated? You need to think about these things before you joke, okay? Number four, are you aware of the emotional tone and the nonverbal messages you are sending? Are you giving off positive, warm signals or a negative or hostile tone? Number five, are you sensitive to the nonverbal signals the other person is sending? Do they seem open and do they seem receptive to your humor or closed off and offended? Are you willing to be able to back off the other person as they respond negatively to the joke? Number seven, if you say or do something that offends, is it easy for you to immediately apologize? So we've got to be in tune too. You know, sometimes in a conflict we think, well, they're just not in tune with me. Maybe we're the one that's not in tune. Maybe you need to meet with that person and make sure you're in tune, because that's how issues and how problems absolutely arise in situations. Now, on the next, this is show one, so we're going to have show two also on handling conflicts in a humorous way. And then we're going to talk about tip number two, don't use humor to cover up other emotions. You know, sometimes we do that. Humor helps you stay resilient in the face of life's changes. But there are times when humor is not healthy. And that's when it's being used as a cover for avoiding rather than coping with painful emotions. So laughter can be a disguise for hurt feelings, fear, anger, and disappointment that you don't want to feel or don't know how to express. Okay, let's go ahead and call it a day. My name is Donna. Step two, show two is going to come up in just a few minutes. But thank you again so much for watching. My name is Donna, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show, where truth definitely matters. You can find us on television, channel 182, and Charter Communications, and Abundance Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And don't forget the podcast, thenewscasters.com. And any ideas at all for shows, send an email to Donna@donnasedge.com. And I will be glad to take care of it for you. Thank you and have a great one.